bold, 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 all in, call, bold, 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 raised, bold,
Сколько было МС в игре, где каждый всех хотел порубить винегрет, чтоб забраться наверх, да согреться лучами побед, размахивать пальмовые ветви. Так было и тогда, и теперь, и успели все давно этот мотив уяснить. Ну давай расскажи, что нет равных тебе, и то, что 100% не ты один из них. Типа ты король грайма, оу щит, ну у тебя никакого вайба вообще. Может ты, наверное, не в курсе, но даже выбор этого бита немного говорит о вкусе. Я говорил, что болеешь музлом, я из батла с чей не узнал. Я послушал твой крайний микстейп, и там было все, Микки, кроме музла. Ну же мне давай-ка расскажи-ка, сколько ты прошел дорога на пути, какие я видел виражи там. Это будет просто охуенно, неожиданно, нам всем послушать интересно, чем же дорожит он. Ты вошел сюда грайм королем, просто царь на битах или римский патриций. И как бы сильно не был ты огрелен, но ты все еще ноунейм, которому по 30. Но ведь у него уже песен за сотку, он весит им сотканно, бесит порой. На битах столько раз был замесен, чтобы батлиться с тех, кто сейчас батлит второй. Он уверен, что он древнее мясо, очнулся из склепа, поведать нам граймы, секреты, аспекты. Но Микки, ты слепо всем спектром, нелепо лишь слепок от скепты. Он всегда хочет всем доказать, как сильно хороший, его это принцип. Он верит в один только кодекс, и это кредо убийцы. Он батлит всегда на серьезке, уверен в себе и решимости полон. Но Микки, очнись, ты пришел нести грайм туда, где танцуют гнойный с монголом. Слушай сюда, ты несчастный мудак, я тебе на куски разорву сейчас пердак. Ты обычный даун, соси мой член в рот, я ебал твои 140 BPM. Это факты, гик, ты не баг и не биг, ты не враг, тупо фрик, просто так, лишь на миг. Типа он король, скажи, разве шире его ряды? Но таких как ты, чувак, поверь, как батлов под биты. Микки супер профи, он неистово крутой. Микки так хорош, он разнесет меня с лихвой. Микки старичок, ему пора уж на покой. Только я недели 3 назад узнал, кто ты такой. Если б он дропа, будучи в хлам, запили трансляцию в свой инстаграм, то, чувак, по моей приблизительной оценке, там народу будет больше, чем на твоем концерте. Микки вместо завтрака читает рэпчик по утрам. Микки батлит на битах и тут, и там. Но, как всегда, есть неизменный факт: всем будет бог, даже если вместо тебя построят храм. Ты столько лет читал рэп, но не понимал, что в рэпе ты как третья нога Панина. Ты давно уже, дядя, сделал свой выбор. Твой потолок — лучший МС города выбор. Всем насрать, и ничто тебя не вытянет. И эту мысль никогда из головы не выкинешь. Ты вымрешь так же, как когда-то вымерли все викинги. Ты как шашлычный фестиваль во время митинга. Микки любит рэп читать, но вот только всем насрать. Микки выпустил альбом, об этом помнит только он. Ты так сильно быть хотел бы популярен, чтобы говорили. Микки разрывает он в ударе. Но в этом вся твоя проблема, в этом вся твоя беда. Тебе помнят лишь, когда ты батлишь на битах, ман. Чел, ты настолько неприметный МС, твой окрас — простейший паттерн. Так умело ты сливаешься с толпой, я до последнего надеялся, что ты сольешься с батла. Правда, описать тебя хватит и раунда, прямо так раскидает твой формат на атомы. Гангстеры с блока из выборгских банд. Слышь, Минимаус, бля, где же твой бант? Не блистаешь уже? Будто бы матовая, глядя твои баты, твои парты перематывал. Ты для меня не существуешь как видение, твоя карьера — это эпилог, мое видение. Я рисую этой ритмикой картины, и язык не повернется назвать это белый шум. Но знаешь, шут — это оружие, так что если нужно, я тебя не раскрашу, а раскрашу. У тебя батл рэп головного мозга, ведь ты так и не выбился в артисты. Судя по всему, для тебя дискография — это наука, изучающая дисы. Он косит под добрую мышь, как ни крути, и таких как он не найдете вы добрей. Но своим узлом хотел бы всех поработить, ведь внутри у Микки сидят Пинки и Брей. И если на батле случайно под эту трампартию Микки проломит ломится панцирь, то не буду в суде на скамье, не перед тем я просить искупления.
Так, 200 против Лимпера. Ну, какой-то говнотуз там вполне может быть, кстати. Я выкину свою даму, на самом деле.
Raise.
Тут еще уравниваю, да? Давайте так.
Call.
Ну, чуть-чуть. Легкий 3-бет. Так, Артурчик тут что-то у нас разбушевался. Ладно, я выкину валетов. Там какой-то конский сайзинг совсем был. Слишком много поставил.
Raise. Fold.
Олег,
Fold.
а с Ютуба все вопросы, пожалуйста, что касаемо раздела касса, что касается вообще...
Fold. Call. Check. Bet. Fold. Fold. Raise. Fold. Fold. Call. Fold. Call. Check. 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 Bet. Fold. Call. Check. Bet. Raise. Call. Fold. 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 Raise. Fold.
Заходит улитка в бар.
Raise. Fold. 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 Call. Raise. Check. Fold. Call. Fold. Bet. Raise. Call. Bet. All in. Fold.
Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by NordVPN. If a game is unavailable at your location, just change your virtual location with NordVPN and fix it. You can also use it for discounts in different regions and many more things. Go get it today with my code THOMPSON. It's risk-free and money-back guarantee. Link is in my description.
Raise. Fold. Call. Fold. Call. Check. Check. Bet. Fold. 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 Check. Bet. Fold. Fold. Raise. Fold. 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 All in. Fold. Fold. Bet. Fold. Raise. Call. Fold. 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 Raise. Call. Fold. 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 Bet. Call. Check. 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 Fold. 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 Raise. Fold. Fold. Fold.
Cannon named Cannon?
Gonzalez Cannon.
That should be a
That is my name.
Cannon's gonna straddle. Attention.
Wow. Yes.
My man. My man. The cannon come out
I
fire.
mean, let's go ahead and get it in, fellas. I mean, let's, you know.
Vipper raises to 2,400.
You gotta look.
Who, me?
He says I qualified. I put the 800 out.
The cannon defending his straddle.
Can't let you punk me all day.
5 ace 8.
Ain't no punk in the junk.
I googled that bet. Turns out not a saying. He bets 4,000.
The cannon has made a pair. Let's see if he can take the heat from Pete.
Oh, he does qualify.
He qualifies and he calls.
Pre-flop, the call was questionable, but once you make a pair, you got to keep going.
Fold. Fold.
Ace of diamonds on the turn.
Vipper's gritting his
Fold.
teeth at the thought of having to bet this again.
Fold.
And
Fold.
the cannon's going to bet it 9,000.
Call.
And he folds, and the cannon's going to pick up his
Check.
first pot of the night.
I like the other cannons better, yo.
Fold.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Cannon is out of position.
With king, queen of spades. He's going to call. 10-4-6 rainbow. Negrano's pair still best.
Fold.
The cannon checks.
Probably
Call.
not too scary a board for Daniel.
Check. Bet. Call.
He bets 2,500.
It's a 3/4 pot bet, which is a pretty big bet for Daniel, actually.
And the cannon's going to call.
This is a pretty loosey-goosey float from Cannon the Cannon.
8 of clubs on the turn.
Fold. Raise.
Cannon thinking,
Fold.
now reaching for chips.
Looks like he's
Fold.
going to come out firing. This is going to look pretty weird to Daniel.
Raise.
Cannon bets 7,000.
This move can sometimes
Fold.
be easily read as a bluff, but even if it is, the Cannon
Fold.
could be
Fold.
bluffing with a better hand than Daniel's.
Daniel folds and the cannon gets away with a bluff.
Fold.
Pounding us. Pounding. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
How much?
15.
Action on the cannon. King jack off.
1 yellow and 1 white.
1 yellow, 1 white?
1 yellow, 1 white.
I can do that.
Much
Fold.
better.
Cannon calls. Flop is
Fold.
ace king deuce.
Cannon called out of position, but he's
Fold.
got Seaver dominated. Both have got middle pair.
He's checked
Call.
it. And Seaver checks behind.
Seaver's
Fold.
checking
Fold.
for pot control.
Ace of clubs on the turn pairs the board.
Call.
Cannon still ahead.
2 yellows, 2 whites.
Makes it 3,000.
Scott was the
Bet.
last aggressor, but Gonzo now betting for value.
I mean, makes a good point. Seems fair.
And Seaver calls.
2 yellows, 2 whites it is.
6 of
Call.
hearts on the river changes nothing.
Well, my guess is 1 silver, 3 yellow.
Call.
That would be 8K and a pretty decent value
Check.
bet.
And Gonzo's counting out some yellows instead.
Check.
8,000.
It was 1 silver and 3 yellows. Just spited me and did it differently.
Didn't even realize it.
Call.
Cannon's metagaming Scott Seaver.
I'll let you add a Seaver wing to the house.
Scott calls.
Got a king.
Bet.
Gonzo's got the better king.
Fold. Fold.
Just to keep. Everyone's making you show your hand first.
Fold.
Just a little yeast. Just a little yeast.
Min
Fold.
raise from the cannon with suited connectors. Ace 9 for Bobby.
All right.
Fold.
Sounds good.
He calls.
Well, the Cannon's finally raising, but he gave Bobby 4.5 to 1, which means he should have called with any 2 cards.
Well, just about any play works when you flop a straight. And the cannon bets 800.
If Bobby's got any card 4 through 10, then he's interested in this board.
Bobby calls with his better straight draw. 7 on the
Fold.
turn, and the cannon straight's still best. Checks it.
The check is not good. You're missing value, and you limit the size of your bet on the river.
Raise.
And Sura checks. Jack of diamonds on the river.
Call. Fold.
Cannon bets 4,000.
Fold.
Now Cannon's trying to overbet the river, which should get about a 0% consideration out of Bobby Sura, currently a player in the NIT BA.
Fold.
And he folds.
Good hand, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And the cannon drags a pot worth 7,800.
Bet.
And the cannon will start with Big Slick, raises to 1,500. Suited 1-gapper for Daniel, very playable for him. Calls the 1,500.
He wants to play a pot in
Call.
position against the amateur.
Ace 9 offsuit for Scott Seaver. And Scott's going to re-raise to 6,500.
64 more than me, huh?
5,000 more.
5 more.
Oh, just 5,000. Oh, that makes it easy.
Just 5
Call.
yellows.
Just 5.
No silvers, no. I didn't use the silvers.
Cannon calls.
As they say, you brought me.
Bet.
Yeah, exactly.
Daniel can't help himself, getting 3 to 1.
Here, you just do what he does, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna do it
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
And Daniel calls. Will have 3-way action to the flop.
Feels good. Someone will be qualified.
Call.
Oh, and the cannon has qualified with trips. King, king, jack on the flop.
Huge flop for the Cannon. Huge draw for Daniel.
Cannon checks his monster. And he checks.
Fold. Fold.
And he bets a little less than half the pot, 8,200.
82.
Fold.
Gonzo with a cannonball
Raise.
raises to 16,700.
I have to give him credit for the size of the raise. If you're going to raise, make it look bluffy.
Daniel's a believer. He
Fold.
folds. Now back to the guy who 3-bet pre-flop.
Not bloody likely.
And Seaver waves the white flag. He
Check.
folds.
If you got a bluff, you get a bonus.
Nah. No bluff.
No, you get aces.
Check.
Liar. Seaver's raised and Viffer folds. Cannon calls.
Bet.
And they'll be heads up to the flop. 8-7-5 rainbow.
Check.
Cannon checks.
Both have flopped gut shots. Seaver's ahead, and he's got the lead.
2 yellows, 2 blacks.
Scott makes it 2,200.
2 yellows, 2 blacks it is.
Excellent. You can't do it any other way. It has to be that way or it's invalid.
Call.
Cannon calls.
This isn't the first out-of-position float we've seen from the cannon.
Jack of clubs on the
Check.
turn. Cannon makes a pair.
Seaver double-gutted.
Check.
Cannon checks.
Fold.
0 chips.
Also known as checking.
Check.
Deuce of diamonds on the river.
Good spot for a value bet.
Call.
3 yellows, 3
Call.
blacks.
Great, now Seaver's got the cannon talking all weird like him.
Cannon bets 3,300.
Fold.
Seaver's not going to be a hero. He lays it down, and the cannon wins another pot. This one worth over $11,000.
Your money won without showdown percentage has to be pretty good.
Fold. Fold.
I wonder what that is.
Because yeah, no one ever calls and you just bet and they always just fold.
Ace jack for the cannon.
Bet and bet, they keep folding. I'm gonna keep doing it.
Raises to 12.
You attacking me?
No, sir. I'm attacking that blind.
Bet.
Definitely feeling like I'm being attacked.
Sir, you like being called
Fold.
sir, Tony G?
I don't mind, but I don't really like it.
Tony comes along with 8-4 suited.
It's a pretty loose defend, but he is playing against the cannon.
Fold. Fold.
King, queen, 4.
Could be a nasty term.
Tony's qualified. He
Fold.
checks.
Friends, sir.
Tony doesn't need a nasty turn. He's hit a nasty flop.
Raise.
Don't bet too much.
Fold.
15.
Cannon bets 1,500.
Fold.
Oh, no. I don't even want to raise that. Now we might end up playing a really big pot.
Check raise from Tony to 4,000.
And the cannon beats him into the
Fold.
pot. I don't love the insta-call. Even offsuit pairouts are dirty to a straight.
Ace of hearts on the turn.
Cannon hits another turn.
12,000.
Call. Call.
And Tony's betting 12,000, and again
Check.
Cannon beats him into the pot.
That's not
Check.
positive. Did you qualify with that ace?
Bet.
Wow.
He did qualify, but Tony's got flush outs.
5 of spades on the river.
Raise.
And that's the I missed everything sigh.
Well, he does have a pair of 4s. Has missed his flush.
Check.
And he checks it. And the cannon shows him the goods.
He has an ace.
Fold. Fold.
Gets the money.
Yeah, I had a lot of outs. A lot of outs.
Another decent sized pot for Gonzo.
Oh, yeah, he did. Turn flush draw. I was like, what? Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Decent pop, but the pros have finally seen behind the curtain a bit.
Fold.
So your percentage at showdown is also pretty good.
Couple of 8s for the cannon.
1,500.
Fold.
Calls.
Fold.
Tony G may be seeking revenge for Cannon floating him on that last hand. These two are a coin flip if we see all 5 cards.
Heads up to the flop. 6, 10, 7. Cannon has a gut shot in his
Call.
pair. And he checks it. Tony checks. Deuce of clubs on the turn.
Check. Check.
Not a very scary board for 2 8s, especially with straight
Raise.
outs.
Cannon bets 2,000. And Tony calls.
Now it's Tony floating the cannon with ace jack.
Check.
Deuce on the river. He can't make hands like the cannon.
Fold.
I'm a fan. You got it all figured out.
Betting 4,000.
Gotta give the cannon credit for being confident enough to attempt thinnish value on the river.
Check.
And again, Gonzo's got the pro in a spot where he really can't do much.
All right. I believe you somehow.
Wins again.
I hope you bluffed it.
Call.
Choose anyone.
And Tony folds.
Bottom one.
Check.
Bottom one.
More free information.
Yeah, but which 8 did he show?
Starting to question who the professionals are here.
You can see this. You can see that.
look easy.
Actions folded around to the cannon. Ace, king of hearts.
I like it so far.
Raises to 1,400. Scott Seaver takes a look. Will he get a
Fold.
walk here?
Easiest
Call.
couch cannon hand ever. Ah,
And he calls.
we've seen Scott defend with a pretty wide range, so I'm not too worried.
Ace, jack, 4 on the flop. The cannon's made top pair, top kicker. Seaver checks.
I really like the cannon's hand at this point. He can c-bet and get some value.
Raise.
2,100.
That's a healthy flop bet.
Seaver's reaching for chips.
Well, it was a value bet, so Cannon probably does want to call.
Seaver calls.
He's hopefully calling with a smaller ace or a draw.
3 of clubs on the turn.
Okay, hopefully not a draw now. I clearly don't like the fact that clubs or a wheel came in, but I think Gonzo's got to bet this to get value out of a smaller ace and to charge if he's only got 1 club.
And it goes check, check. Queen of hearts on the river.
It's not a great river card since Broadway just came in and any other ace paint is winning now too.
And now it looks like Seaver might bet. And he fires out 3,500.
Now that Scott's leading out, it's possible that Gonzo's beat, but I don't think he should fold, especially since Scott is capable of doing this with a smaller ace.
And Gonzo makes the call.
I got an ace. I got an ace.
Cannon shows slick.
No, you don't. He has an ace.
Fold.
Scott had ace deuce.
Fold.
Good ace. I have a good ace.
Or as Scott
Fold.
would say, ace deuce.
The cannon picks up the pot.
Raise. Fold.
Action back on Gonzalez.
Call.
Cannon. King jack offsuit.
Fold.
The general rule is to 3-bet or fold when you're out of position.
He's going to call.
Well, the cannon's been doing just fine so far. What do I know?
Sir folds, heads up to the flop.
Me and Tony G.
7 deuce 6 on the
Fold.
flop.
Cannon misses, but has the best hand with king high.
Tony with a
Check.
gut shot. Cannon checks.
Tony's got a gut shot to a 6-card straight, and
Bet.
we know his pairs are live.
It's worth 3,000 to him and to the cannon.
Cannon floats out of position more than trying to jump onto a
Raise.
wakeboard in the ocean.
9 of
Fold.
clubs on the turn. The cannon somehow still best. And bets 3,000.
Now the cannon donks the turn, and he just so happens to do it on a hand where Tony has 4 high
Fold.
and the nut low.
Tony.
Fold.
Folds.
Wins every hand.
The cannon's play is unorthodox, but it's gutsy and it's
Raise.
working.
Can't believe Tony lacked the heart there to put the man to the test.
9-3 queen, a couple
Call.
of clubs. Daniel misses
Check.
and checks.
Raise.
Tony checks middle pair.
Fold.
And Viffer checks bottom pair.
Check.
Cannon's good
Wow.
with a check as well.
No one wants this pot getting any bigger with these pieces of cheese.
Turns the jack of clubs. Daniel checks.
Tony already had the best hand, picked up a ton of outs to improve.
He checks.
Check.
Viffer checks, and it checks around.
92% equity for Tony in a three-way pot, not bad.
King of clubs on the river, and Tony's made a straight and a flush.
Fold. Fold.
That's now 100% equity.
And he checks it. Viffer checks to the cannon.
Raise.
3,000.
He's not afraid to bet it. Makes it 3,000.
The cannon's trying to steal this, but I don't think he's going to get Tony G to fold the third
Fold.
nuts.
Fold. Fold.
You know there's a flush out there, right?
I believe I do.
Fold.
I fold.
Whoa!
Like
Fold.
Daniel said, what happened to Tony G?
The pros are giving mad credit to the cannon all week.
This feels like the time that he's.
I have so much sympathy.
Even Viffer's got him beat with a pair of
It
threes.
feels like the time though that it could be good.
It is good.
I have
It
a lot
feels-
of sympathy.
It feels like I'm not. I mean, but if
But he folds it.
I just folded the third nuts, so
Fold.
Wow.
10 of clubs.
You did not fold the 10 of
Fold.
clubs.
Fold.
Why? Why doesn't no one want to see him look him up?
I would
Because I know I'm
Yeah.
beat. I don't know. What's the point?
Fold.
Put 3,000 in?
Because he's so nitty, he never bluffs,
Check.
probably.
Yeah.
Cannon kicks it up to 2,200.
Ask and ye shall receive.
Fold.
Bible quotes from Seaver.
I don't remember Seaver asking to be dominated, which he is.
And he calls. Flop is Jack
Fold.
10-5, 2 spades. Action on Seaver.
Fold.
Boy, he did not
Fold.
catch any of that flop.
He checks.
And for
Call.
once, the cannon's the one in position.
Fold.
Bets his ace. It's worth 4,000 to him.
Good spirit,
Call.
good heart. There's a lot of good positive things, but they're not enough to get.
They're not enough to overcome.
And Seaver
Raise.
mucks. The cannon's going to drag a pot worth almost 10,000. 3 to the flop. 10 deuce jack, 2 clubs. Scott Seaver's picked up a
Call.
pair.
Seaver outflops everyone with his only live
Call.
card.
Check.
Worth a bet. 4,000.
All in.
Donks it.
Viffer's out.
Fold.
Cannon quickly calls.
This guy floats more than a Macy's Thanksgiving balloon. I got a million of them.
4 diamonds on the turn.
Oh, Viffer would have turned a set.
Seaver checks. Gonzalez, cannon, 8,000.
There are a ton of draws out there.
Seaver makes the right call.
I wonder if Gonzo will put the brakes on if he misses.
River, the 3 of diamonds changes nothing. Seaver checks again.
Cannon's been using his position well this hand, and it looks like he's loading up another barrel. If you're going to go for it, you got to go all the way.
12.
All right, he is no longer the cannon. He is now officially Gonzo. He has bet 12,000 here on a bluff again.
Scott has
Check.
to decide if Gonzo would make this exact same move again.
Bet. Raise. Fold.
But Scott can't do it. He folds
Call.
to the bluff. And the cannon rights the
Call.
ship, dragging a pot worth 41,000 bucks.
Bet.
You have met your match, Mr. Seaver.
Scott's not going to like seeing that one on TV.
Cannon calls with King Jack.
Call.
Sir is out and over to Daniel. 7-8
Call.
offsuit,
Sometimes a playable
Check.
hand.
but he folds it.
Daniel not his usual active self this week.
9 queen 6. Cannon's flopped a gut shot.
Bet.
But Tony G bets his ducks 2,000, and the cannon quickly calls.
Sometimes a quick call can be indicative of a draw.
9 of spades on the turn, and the cannon picks up a flush draw as well.
Tony still best.
Tony bets 4,000. Cannon quickly calls.
He's just going for it.
Gonzo's also got hidden counterfeit outs.
To the river. 3 of clubs, brick. Tony G checks
Check,
now.
check.
Gonzo didn't get there, but the club draw did come in. The only way he can win this is to bluff at it.
And he's more than happy to. Bets 9,000 into Tony G.
Well, Scott, this cannon has not let up on the aggression.
Call.
You can tell
Fold.
Tony doesn't want to believe the amateur has the best hand again.
Raise.
I will say one thing for our loose cannon. He's just like the
Fold.
Fonz. And what's
Fold.
Fonzie like?
Cool.
He's cool.
Now let's see if Tony can figure this cannon out.
Fold.
He folds.
I might lose to a bluff. That's
I knew I wanted to.
Tony gets bluffed.
Fold.
Nice hand, Gonzo.
Same, same.
Fold.
Ace queen for the cannon.
Fold. Fold.
24.
Cannon's got
Call.
position on Viffer, so just calling's cool.
And he does.
Call.
Ace 9 for Bobby Sura.
Sura's
Check.
actually in position, but this is usually a fold or re-raise spot.
But he just calls.
Always better to be the aggressor.
Sura, Viffer, and the cannon. Ace 7, 3, 2 diamonds. Cannon and Sura both hit their aces, and Whiffer whiffs. Checks. Cannon
Fold.
bets 5,000.
Bobby Sura flops an
Fold.
ace and is
Fold.
out kicked again. Yet another dream situation for the cannon.
Sura makes the call.
Fold.
Viffer with king high.
Leaves it to the amateurs.
Sura drawing very thin with Viffer folding a 9.
5 of spades on the turn.
So I'll put this bet out here.
Pretty much announcing he's going to bet, and he does. 9,000.
Bobby Sura's dead to a 9, and he's got no chop outs.
Fold. 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 Fold.
And this pot has gotten pretty big.
Raise.
About to get bigger. Sura makes the call.
Bobby called pre-flop with an ace. Looks like he's just going to go with it.
To the river. 4 of hearts.
That card
Fold.
puts 2 4-card straights out there.
Check.
Cannon checks.
one pair.
Bobby checks. The cannon shows the better ace.
The pair.
I had that one too.
Fold.
And Bobby Sura becomes another victim of the gimp hand.
Fold.
Gonzo takes another pot, and he's now up almost
Check.
$70,000. Viffer straddled for 800, and the cannon has 2 queens.
Fold.
Raises to 3,000. Sura's out. Ace 8 suited for Daniel. He's on the button.
Daniel's cooking something up.
Fold.
He does seem to be reaching for bigger denomination chips.
This is very convoluted. Clock.
Fold. Fold. Fold.
Okay, Scott Seaver will be here all week,
Fold.
folks.
Why is that so funny to me?
3-bet.
Daniel has
Fold.
successfully isolated the cannon.
Straddle makes big pots.
Sure
Raise.
does.
Action's back on Gonzo.
Let's see a flop.
Just calls.
Let's see one.
Fold.
You know what I like about this hand?
Fold.
You go first.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's kind of good. You go first. I get to see what's up.
Position for dummies.
Dan and the
All in.
cannon to the flop. 5-7 queen, and the cannon's flop top set.
Gonzalez cannon runs good.
Check.
And he checks.
Good check. Let Daniel fire again. Gonzo literally licking his lips.
Daniel will c-bet here for 10,500.
Daniel's put in slightly less than half the pot.
Fold.
This board is fairly dry, so just calling would be okay. A raise would be okay too. The only wrong move would be to fold, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
Fold. Fold.
And now Gonzo, the one reaching for some big chips.
Fold.
Made it 30 there.
Fold.
He's
Fold.
check raised to 30,000.
Scott's not gonna sit through Daniel's Hollywooding. I do find it hard to believe Daniel's thinking about this, though I'm sure it's killing him that the pros have seen so few of the cannon's hands.
Raise.
These 3 guys happy to not be in a
Fold.
pot with a cannon for once.
Fold.
Daniel folds.
Easy money.
Like Christmas every day.
Not that easy.
Cannon.
How much?
3 high and calls. 6, 5, 7, 2 spades. Cannon's picked up a flush draw.
He's also got the dummy end of a gutter ball straight draw.
Checks it.
This is a pretty big flop. You can see they're almost a coin flip.
Seaver bets 3,500. Cannon almost beats him in the pot.
Hail Mary.
To the turn.
Raise.
Abracadabra.
6 of spades gives Gonzo the flush.
Fold.
Check.
Checks it.
Gonzo hits his Hail Mary. He may have wanted to protect that flush, but if you bet, you can blow your opponent off the hand, and if you check, you let him get a free card. That's why playing out of position reeks.
Fold.
But I'd rather be Gonzo right now. Seaver stepping into the trap, bets 9,000.
Luckily for the Cannon, Scott did not check behind.
Cannon wastes no time calling. Queen of clubs on the river changes nothing.
Check.
Cannon's got it locked up now, and he checks.
That's a risky check. Scott could very easily check
Fold.
behind.
I'm all in.
All in.
Call.
And Gonzo calls.
Adi, adi, adi.
Oh my God.
Seaver looks genuinely shocked.
I had 8-9.
Raise.
That hand.
Like
8-9.
knock it,
I
huh?
would have won.
Raise.
Hasn't quite sunk in for Gonzo yet either.
Been a good day so far.
So far, I can't complain.
Cannon's now up well over 6 figures.
Fold.
He's setting the bar like up here for every loose cannon.
The Cannon's got 2 pair, and Daniel's going to draw to his straight. 4 of spades on the turn, and the Cannon's filled up.
Gonzalez Cannon continues to run like Godzales Cannon. Now it looks like Daniel's loading up for a bet. He might think he can blow Gonzo off his hand with a donk bet.
Makes it 4,500.
And it might actually work most of the time, but huffing and bluffing can rarely blow a full house down.
I never bluff. Just calls.
I really like the smooth call by the Cannon. He can let Daniel think he's just got top pair or a draw.
River 8 of diamonds.
Daniel missed his straight, but since everything else missed, he might think he can take Gonzo off his hand.
And this bluff is a $16,500 donation to the Cannon Family Relief Fund.
Wow. Big blind, big blind, big blind, big blind, big blind.
Since you've been so friendly about showing a card, I'm also going to show you one card. Okay? Let's see if this is the one. All right.
Daniel shows a 5.
You get one card and one card only.
Fold.
I've made a huge mistake. Daniel's just blown any chance he had of not getting raised here. This guy makes a huge hand, gets bet into, and then a pro shows him the losing hand. This is unreal lucky.
Oh, I should have literally. You can't raise. That's mean.
34%.
Viffer's right to laugh. This is ridiculous.
Fold.
Cannon stacking chips. There's the raise.
Fold.
Gross.
Fold.
To 61.5.
That just made it all worth it, right there.
Oh, hang on.
Viffer, you agree, right? That was...
And Gonzo looks like he's about to explode.
The problem is I literally I cannot call. So I have to fold.
Another big
Raise.
pot for the Cannon.
Well, he obviously didn't. He had 6 high beat, almost for sure.
Gonzo's now up over 150K.
Gonzo, when this game started, did you ever think you would be able to take that table for over $155,000?
I'm speechless. I mean, I feel like dancing. I'm happy. I'm excited. You know, I'm humbled. But at the same time, I mean, I'm just thrilled at this opportunity. I'm glad I was able to, you know, come out and play my game because I knew I had what it takes to be here. So I'm glad it's changed.
You definitely did.
Call. Check. Check. Bet. Call. Fold.
What is he thinking about?
Thinking about making a dramatic fold?
No, he's reaching for the 5K chips, Joe. Raises to 16.6.
This Cannon is nuts.
Call.
This is Massimiliano Martinez, an Italian economics student who plays poker extremely aggressively. Check out his outrageously wild style and find out how much he wins.
Action over to the Cannon
Call.
with ace-4 offsuit. Makes the call.
There it is.
Fold.
Yes. Out of the gate, we're playing cards.
It was only a min raise, but so
All
far,
in.
Max is a player.
To the flop, 10 ace-3 rainbow. Martinez with top pair, Phil with middle pair. Martinez checks.
That's a fill lot.
Like I'm gonna bet that. Like I'm gonna fall into that trap.
A little pot control from the Cannon.
Deuce of diamonds on the turn.
Max's ace is still best. Now he's got outs to a wheel.
He bets 1,100.
How much, 11? That's a trap I can be in.
Lock does put in 1,100 more while he's behind.
All in. Fold.
Ace of spades on the river.
That second ace hitting isn't so great for Phil.
And Max checks his trips.
Now I gotta get out of the trap.
Fold.
Give me that special club. What's it
Fold.
called? A
Fold.
sand wedge? 2200, I guess. That's a trap getting out. Perfect shot.
Fold.
Lock fires 2200.
Maybe not. Maybe I need another sand wedge.
I would also like a club sandwich.
Martinez.
Max is actually pretty lucky Phil bet here.
And raises to 5600.
Fold.
Pretty thin spot for a raise. Max actually has the worst ace possible.
Fold.
All right. My thinking here is this is not a call in the long run.
Correct.
But why do I not believe him? The problem is if I call and I'm wrong and you win the money, then I'm going to believe you for the rest of the night. 149 hands where I believe you, and that's going to hurt. I'm paying him off. I don't know, how much is it?
He's got a pair of jacks.
4 or 5? Ace 4.
Easily the most steamed I've ever seen, Phil.
The Cannon's going to take our first pot of the night worth 15,800. Max Martinez, the Cannon with 10-9 suited. Raises to 1300.
All right, loose cannon.
Ace 9 for Helmuth. Calls. Phil Perkins, 6-3 offsuit. Why not?
Whatever.
Flop
Call.
8-4-7, couple of diamonds. Perkins checks his gut shot.
Full lock check. This is the full lock check. No, this is
He's too handy.
Raise.
sometimes he likes this. I like
Fold.
that little.
Looks like everyone's learning to play chopsticks.
Martinez checking his up and down straight draw.
Helmuth with nothing but ace high.
Call.
42.
Oh, Joe, he's got every backdoor draw imaginable. Businessman's done.
Max has 2 overs and he's open-ended, even though we know his
Check.
9's no good.
And Martinez
Check.
makes the call. 10 of hearts, Max makes a pair. Phil
Check.
is also up and down now.
Check.
Top pair for the loose cannon.
Check.
Martinez checks.
12,800.
You heard the
Check,
man.
check.
12,800 is the bet
Check.
now.
So we're 3/4 of the pot.
Check.
I'll take this one now. You fold. I win. I know.
He can probably understand complete sentences.
Bet. Call.
Well, this definitely isn't a fold.
Check.
The Cannon showing some stones makes the call.
At this point, Phil should know he no longer has the best hand.
To the river, 7 of spades. Phil misses. Max's pair is still good.
Looks like he's thinking about betting it.
And he does. Fires 15,500.
This is a pretty small bet into this pot. It's sort of a blocker
Fold.
/ merge. He's trying to bet a little less than what he thinks
Raise.
Phil
Fold.
would have bet.
Raise it. 45,000.
Phil raises 45,000
Fold.
more.
Now, Phil's the kind of guy that
Fold.
makes a lot of tight, just calls, so this raise is pretty polarizing, which means either full house or nothing.
Call.
It's a very tough spot for Max, since he's the one guy at the table who
Check.
absolutely cannot reload. If he called
Bet.
here and he was wrong, he'd be left with less than 25K. I know what almost every other loose cannon would do in this spot.
Please
All
don't have
in.
forceful.
Call.
You got fourths? I might have forceful. I might not.
Sick level.
Okay, call.
Wow.
Good call. You win.
That pot worth over 160,000 bucks.
Absolutely amazing call.
Helmuth looks stunned.
Oh my God, what is going on? What is going on? Oh my God.
Fold.
Get the
Fold.
tilt juice out for
Nice
everyone. Have
Thank
a
you.
little sip.
Break
All
it up.
in.
I can't make that call.
So sick.
I can't make that call. No, I can't make that
No,
call.
he bet
Fold.
15,000 with a 10.
I block bet, so you can raise and bluff.
I can't do any of that.
I don't value, I block.
What? He's a machine. He's a beast.
No, he bet out with a 10, no kicker. That's staggering.
But think of the percentage of his stack it would have been. I mean, amazing.
Perkins calls. Max with queen jack suited.
More clubs out there than the Vegas Strip.
I don't think that he can survive because he's
I
gonna make.
agree.
He's
I
gonna.
think-
You agree?
I agree that that's too
Fold.
risky
Fold.
in the long run
nothing to
to be
say.
doing
Fold.
hard.
Of course.
Deuce, queen, 9, couple of hearts.
No, he can't help it. He's gonna give it all on you guys.
The Europeans, the Northern Europeans can never help it, right?
I'm speaking the truth.
No, you're speaking your opinion,
Call.
man.
Perkins is flop bottom pair,
Call.
but he was not the pre-flop
Check.
aggressor.
Bets 3,500.
Check.
Martinez calls.
Max has got
Bet.
top pair.
I don't know. I think that if there's a
Fold.
chance Max is being quiet, and that Max might have a vampire truth that he tasted and just said, I'm going to go with that truth. Because I've met fellow Highlanders, vampires, whatever, once in a while, and they have a taste. They know it can happen.
Ah, the Highlander vampire truth taste.
Perkins checks the 8 of diamonds on the turn. Martinez bets 6,000. Bill folds.
I'm giving him credit for the
Back here, this
possibility
guy
that
is-
he's a
back here
mutant
too.
genius. I'm just
And Max
giving
wins
him-
again. Kill pot.
I'm giving Max. I'm saying, even though I think that's bad long run poker, I'm opening the door to the possibility you're a vampire genius.
Quick, someone get a mirror and a Sudoku puzzle.
Fold.
Martinez with big slick.
I wonder how you say
Call.
big slick in Italian. All Italians are pretty slick,
And he raises to 2,400.
including this one.
Helmuth quickly calls. 8 tray 10 rainbow.
The cannon has missed, but he's first to
Call.
act.
Bets 2,600.
Phil may not hate this board.
Raise 3.
Check.
He doesn't, raises it to 5,600.
Fold.
I couldn't bluff him the first time.
You could do anything you want. You are the man with more bracelets in the world.
I tried. You called me last time.
Phil's raising here to try to protect himself from being outdrawn or getting bluffed on a later street, since there aren't a lot of turn cards he's gonna like.
Martinez makes the call.
Fold.
This can sometimes look pretty obvious though, and our loose cannon showed pretty good instinct so far.
Turn
Raise.
tray of diamonds. Martinez checks.
It's actually a pretty good card for Phil.
He bets 5,000. And Martinez just calls again.
Looks like Max thinks Phil's just barreling.
To the river. 5 of spades, Phil with a boat, and he's loving this.
Helmuth catches another
Call.
late game set. Max with nothing but ace king high.
All
And
in.
checks it.
Phil's best chance of getting paid here is to try to make it look like a bluff.
Call.
Yes, Phil, you did river a full house.
22,000.
Fires 22K.
This is for 3/4 of the pot and could be a good way to level Max into thinking he's just trying to run another big bluff.
Thinking of calling me with ace king high?
Yep.
Probably king eye is good.
Fold.
Looks like Max
Fold.
is seriously considering
Fold.
making this hero
Fold.
call.
He does.
You got a full house.
Pretty sure that beats ace high.
Raise.
2
Fold.
10s for
Fold.
Elke. Raises to 1,300. Lock calls with his suited ace.
How many different versions of this hand am I gonna get? It's
Fold.
gotta work once.
Not true.
It gotta work once.
Perkins with trade deuce again.
Don't try this ever.
Over to our cannon Martinez with pocket 7s.
Fold.
Massimiliano looks like he's up to something.
Raise.
3 bets it to 6,100. Helmuth quickly out of the way, as is Dario.
You guys are chatting it up over there. Massimiliano is trying to play some cards.
Elkalicious. Oh, he doesn't care.
Squeeze alert.
Let's see what's going on.
Elke makes the call.
Squeeze alert.
No, I think I'm not coming.
Lock folds.
I think I'm not coming on that one.
Perkins is out as well.
You guys leave me alone?
Yeah, bro.
That's not very nice.
Max scares me. I haven't figured out if he's a genius or a donkey yet, so I'm just not playing hands with him.
2 players to the
Fold.
flop.
I'm leaning towards genius.
Raise.
Like the Tower of Pisa.
King, ace, ace.
Aw, poor Phil would have flopped trips. Elke's trying to get a read on Max.
Checks it
Fold.
over to him.
Max pretty much has no choice but to bet after 3-betting
Call.
pre-flop.
And bets 5,200.
Elke also knows that Max would have pretty much had no
All
choice but to
in.
bet.
Fold.
But he folds.
Even when you know they're bluffing, it's hard to call because they're in such a good math
Fold,
spot. They just
fold,
get the
fold.
money anyways, you know?
A little c-bet action from Max takes it down, and he continues to roll here on the big game.
Call.
Leave it to the economics major to know the math. 10-9 suited for our cannon.
It's a sick power.
Wow, this is the most aggressive loose cannon I've ever seen.
Raises to 1,300. Phil H is out.
I love it. I love it. I mean, if I can beat top pair, I can win like 100.
I'm trickling chips off to him.
Yeah, let's trickle.
Trickle down poker. You know, this is what I do.
Lock and Perkins both in.
Trickle.
Jack 8-6. A couple of diamonds on the flop.
A zombie cannon flops the up and down
Fold.
straight flush draw.
Check.
Lock checks top pair.
Bill Perkins has got top air.
Check.
And checks it.
I think we're pretty likely to see Massimiliano continue his aggression. This is a perfect spot to start building
Fold.
a pot.
You'd be right, Joe. He bets 2,600.
Well, I don't think Phil will be folding top pair. And from the looks of all those chips he's grabbing, he may just be getting tired of this kid.
He puts out a raise. 14-6, and Perkins folds.
This is a pretty ob spot for a 3-bet IMO. Max is a favorite against top pair, and this actually doesn't have great implied odds, meaning Phil can probably get away from it if a bad card hits. Max might want to get in as much now as he can.
Martinez re-raises to 37,700.
Can you pull in 12?
Now, Phil said on the first hand of the week when he paid off Max that it was going to mess with his head for the rest of the session. He was likely to believe Max would always have it, and this could very well be where Phil concludes that Max is indeed a zombie Highlander vampire leprechaun.
By the way, Max, I'm folding, and I will show you my hand if you show me your hand.
Lock folds.
I don't need that.
Right.
Max says no thanks. Dario, King 10 offsuit.
Haven't heard from Dario in a little while.
Pumps it up to 1100. A suited ace for Elke. Ace deuce for the cannon.
Probably an easy defend with those pot odds.
And it is.
Not Elke, not yet. But I'm waiting for him to go off.
Raise.
Dario's been popped me like 4 or 5 times, so.
Four-way action to the flop. 3-5-9, all clubs.
All right, everybody, club check.
Fold.
Perkins checks.
Bottom pair, no club. Max has ace high, worst club.
And checks.
Dario's got the second nut flush draw and the pre-flop betting lead.
And checks it as well.
Elke's got ace high with a wheel draw, but also no club.
And it's going to check around. We'll see a turn. Jack of diamonds.
Perkins perks up. Now with top and bottom. No one with the betting lead at the moment.
Fold. Fold. Fold.
He fires out 2,600 with 2 pair. Action over to our loose cannon.
Italians are famous for their cooking, and it looks like Max is cooking up something here.
Check.
Looks like he's cooking up a raise, possibly. That's a lot of chips. Makes it 11,600.
Bet.
With nothing but ace high and a gut shot. That's some machismo.
Fold.
Dario out.
Tough to call there with a bet and a raise in front of you.
How much do I have to put in?
And Elke gives up his gut shot. Perkins makes the call easily.
Quick call from Perkins. Frustration call or soul read. You be the judge.
Fold. Fold.
Queen of diamonds on the river. A straight now possible as well.
Fold.
Perkins checks.
Perkins still with the best hand. Dario's king 10 would have gotten there. Max
Raise.
knows he can't win this pot by checking. And Perkins is
Fold.
still checking.
All right, he's done. Max, your action. And a lot of action. Bets 23,100.
Raise.
On a stone bluff, and this cannon is cannoning. Now for Bill Perkins with 2 pair, it's not the hardest call in the world, but it's not the easiest either.
I give him Phil's money.
That sounds like a call.
Fold.
Here's Phil's money. Flush?
And it is.
All in.
Nice round.
Oops.
Where's that?
Ace high.
Perkins was so sure he lost.
And Perkins is going to drag a pot worth almost 75K. Elke raises. Lock calls 1,300 with the 10-8. Perkins, King Jack, calls.
Fold.
The cannon with the 9-7.
He's
Fold.
thinking about it. He's got some decent immediate odds if he wants to get in there, splash around.
Splash he will. Phil Hellmuth, King 10. Suited. Makes the call. Trey 9-4.
Fold.
Couple of hearts. Cannon with top pair.
Raise. Fold.
Checks it. Hellmuth checks.
Elke's got middle pair and was the original raiser.
Keeps the lead. Bets 3,300.
Locke hoping for some better cards.
And ditches these.
Fold. Fold.
Perkins out of the way. Back on Martinez. Just calls.
That is a very disappointing flop, dealer.
Fold.
For me, I had a nice little
Raise.
hand there. Oh.
Translation for Elke's face. Okay.
Turn ace of hearts. Elke with 2 pair.
Top pair, no longer top pair
Raise.
for the cannon.
And he checks it.
Elke's got aces up now and
Fold.
probably
Call.
really loves his hand, though I'm sure he wouldn't love to see another heart
Fold.
come off.
Fold.
Elke bets 8,200.
Max likely knows that this would be a good card for Elke to bluff at, and unlike most loose cannons, Max does not back down easily.
And Max calls from well behind here. We're going to see a river.
Elke's got Max in bad shape.
River, 9 of clubs.
Raise.
Not anymore. Max makes trips.
I wonder if they have the word Yahtzee in Italian.
He checks it.
Max is taking a shot that Elke will bet at this.
Fold. Fold.
2 pair are counterfeited.
Elke won't be trapped. He checks. Martinez shows him the winner.
Fold.
Elke's not running like Elke today. Still, he manages
Fold.
to lose the minimum. Well played, monsieur.
Max the cannon.
Fold.
Pocket aces.
What a superb spot for a 3-bet.
Call.
Wow. And he does. Raises to 5,100. Phil quickly out.
Check.
4 tray of clubs from Minieri.
Dario's got a hand that's good for snapping aces, but he's out of position.
Too shallow and monster on the mat right now, you know?
Looks like we're about to see a slow motion wire fight up above some trees. I would expect a lot of dusty punches. This is a big re-raise. Dario's out of position, not getting the right price, and he's not closing the action.
Crouching Tiger, massive
Raise.
4-bet. Makes it 18,100.
Back in my younger days.
Fold.
You would have folded even faster.
Fold.
Luck lets it go, as does Perkins. And
Call.
this just became a 5-alarm dumpster fire for
Call.
Dario. Martinez is raised to 37-2. Max would love to see a 6th bet
Bet.
here.
Fold.
Dario folds, and Max
Call.
is going to take down a nice pot pre-flop.
Wow, this
Fold.
is unbelievable. He has come over the
Bet.
top. He's got the last raisin in like every pot he's
All
played.
in.
So he's either had aces and kings like
Fold.
17 times, or he's
Tape will show if
he's
he's a
out
genius.
there.
By the way, earlier in the week in a Behind the Poker Face, Phil said the loose cannon played horribly.
Raises here.
Like never.
Helmuth out. Action on
Fold.
Dario Minieri on the
Fold.
small
Fold.
blind.
Typically, this would be a spot for a
Raise.
3-bet if he was going to play this hand.
Just calls. Elke in the
Fold.
big blind with 4 deuce suited. Calls 1,700 more.
Perkins with the chance to put the squeeze on.
I raise the pot.
11-1 total.
11-1 total. Bill Perkins is here, folks. There it is. There you go.
He's got it, Phil.
Yeah.
Perkins
Check.
raises to 11,100.
Fold.
Back on the cannon. Joe, why is he reaching for chips?
Because he's about to put the loose in loose cannon.
He flat calls 9,000 with Jack 8, and Dario and Elke are quickly
Bet.
out.
Loose as a goose.
Fold.
Heads up to the flop. 10-9-8 rainbow.
This could get Max in trouble. He's got bottom
Raise.
pair. He's open-ended. Perkins with an overpair. Same straight draw.
But he checks it.
Surprising check. Let's see if Max
All
gets
in.
aggressive. Sure, Perkins isn't folding.
Fold.
No, he checks behind.
2 surprising checks in this 3-bet pot.
Ace of clubs on the turn. Perkins not skirt of that ace, makes it 15,000.
Coming out swinging, but I don't think Max can or should fold a pair in a straight draw.
And he calls.
Even though we know he's drawing pretty thin to an outright win.
To the river. 9 of clubs, no help to Max.
Sort of a scare card for both players.
Perkins checks it.
We've seen Max get
Fold.
real aggressive
Fold.
in spots like this before, and we haven't seen him give up much at all.
Fold. Fold.
Waves the white flag.
Aces? Huh? Aces? No. I've jacks. You're good.
Perkins will take down a pot worth 57K.
Fold.
King 10. Raises to 1,300. Pocket deuces for lock. Calls.
I bet the pot. I bet the pot.
Aaron Sorkin's big game.
He bet the pot.
He bet the pot.
Fold. Perkins raises to 6,200 with pocket 10s.
No one's even called down there.
I know, but it doesn't matter.
Over to our Italian loose cannon, Massimiliano Martinez, with 9-5 of spades.
Raise.
What is he thinking about?
Fold.
Thinking about making a dramatic fold?
No, he's
Fold.
reaching for the 5K chips, Joe. Raises to 16-6.
Fold.
This
Fold.
cannon is nuts.
Really need to see what he has.
Elke
Fold.
folds, locks out, over to the businessman with his 2 10s.
Call.
Makes the call.
The problem with playing a pot with Perkins is that while he's spewy, he may not lay down some of the
Call.
same hands other pros
Call.
would.
5 tray 6, 2 spades, pair and a flush draw for Martinez.
Action flop. Perkins with the overpair.
Fires 20K.
See, now we've got an overpair versus a pair and a flush draw in a 3-bet
Check.
pot. Ay-ya, that's why that bet is so big. For Massimiliano, this is a pretty clear-cut spot for a raise. Perkins will sometimes just be messing around, and if not,
Bet.
you've got a huge piece of this board.
Call. Fold.
Max raises to 57-2.
Check.
Max could have moved all in, but this is a very strong hand,
How much?
and he actually
Check.
doesn't mind giving Perkins the opportunity
Check.
to try to bluff all in.
I fold.
Perkins lays it down face up.
Good bet.
And Max shows him the 9.
Great bet.
This game is unbelievable. I can't believe I'm losing.
Yeah, and I don't know how to beat it.
I can't believe I'm losing. I know how to beat it, but
Bet.
you can't let him hit the 2-outers.
I don't think you know how to beat this game.
Dario just couldn't resist.
Action on Max with ace 10.
Uh-oh.
And of course, the shallow monk comes to the mat, you know? He loves these moments.
Max raises to 5,100. Action folds to Elke, who's out.
I don't know. I've given up on the monk. I'm just gonna
baiting out.
Please.
Oh. Lock with 10-9 of hearts.
Phil's dominated.
Fold.
Where's the 5?
Calls 4,300. 4-10 Queen Rainbow. Lock and Martinez both with middle pair.
Jake.
Lock's got kicker problems like the Karate Kid.
He fires 6,100.
A lot of money out there to fold this to one bet, especially when everyone has a pretty good sense of how aggressive Max has been.
Lock makes the call.
String call.
Turn, deuce of diamonds. Lock checks.
Will Max keep barreling?
Call.
He does not. Checks it to the river. Queen of diamonds, 2 pair for both.
Changes absolutely nothing.
Lock checks.
This is probably a spot for a value bet, especially knowing how aggressive our cannon's been.
Bet.
And Martinez bets 25,000 with his 2
Fold.
pair better kicker.
Very polarizing bet on a hand that's not
Raise.
polarized.
This is called a thin call. I don't normally do these, but I
Raise.
decided a
Fold.
long time ago.
Wait, let me get my notepad.
The only way to beat these shallow monks is to just
a thin call.
you just get some little chunk of something, you just hold on, and if they
Fold,
pound you into
fold.
the ground and they take your satchel and run
Call.
away into the forest, then you're just sitting there with no satchel. That's okay, I've done without a satchel before.
Bet.
What in the H?
But if my thin little gangly, crackly 1 pair is good, then
Fold.
I took his
Fold.
satchel.
Fold.
Does this story have a point?
Just flip a coin, flip a coin. Flip a coin, come on.
Flip a coin. Flip a chip.
Maybe.
Fold.
I'm getting a coin.
I like the coin.
Max can now win an extra 25 grand based on the flip of a coin.
I have a coin, I know.
Okay, I got 1 cent.
You gave me the coin.
Shaolin's got his own coin.
Shaolin, you want to see the Shaolin coin?
Ancient Chinese proverb says, anytime man offers you coin, don't flip, but call instead. Wow, is that parable true? I'm going with the parable.
Lock calls. Max shows the winner.
Ace 10.
You made the Shaolin value bet.
Shalom value bet.
Oh, I love that little talk.
He knew the Shalom parable. He knew to
Call.
offer the coin because he knew if he offered the coin, I would call.
Mercier lets it go. 10-5 for Martinez.
Call.
The dice hanging from the mirror. All right, I'm done.
Calls 200.
Raise 4.
Helmuth min raises to 800.
Annoying little back raise.
Raise. Fold.
Awesome if Max just folded, make him look like a jerk.
Fold. Fold.
Martinez calls.
At a table full of Nemesis,
Fold.
Phil is now heads up with one of
Call.
them.
Flop. 4,
Check.
10, 9, 2 clubs. Cannon flops top pair and checks it. Helmuth with middle pair and a flush draw.
Helmuth's
Bet.
the favorite, but he has the worst hand.
16.
Fold.
Bets 1,600.
Don't think Max is going anywhere with top pair against Phil Spumuth. Would it be Hell Spew?
Martinez raises to 5,100.
I want to raise it up.
Things are getting heated in a hurry.
Phil puts out enough to call, but he'll contemplate his raise amount.
Phil taking his sweet time figuring out how much to make it.
Still waiting on Phil.
All in.
Cannon's all in.
You're all in? Okay.
Apparently Max was tired of waiting.
And he flips up his hand.
Helmuth ready to gamble.
How many times do you want to run?
1 time's good.
Only 1?
Helmut is a man. He's doing straddles and doing it 1 time, and he's
1 time's good.
Can't give him
1 time's good.
It's your choice, not mine.
1 time's good, I said.
Okay.
1 time.
How many times are they running it?
1 time.
Helmuth is the slight favorite. His outs are practically running off the screen.
Huge moment for Max. If his hand holds up, he'll grab the lead from Gonzo for the NAPT passport.
Gonzo and Phil both rooting for a club.
5 of diamonds, 2 pair for Max.
Not a great card for Phil. It kills one of his club outs. If Max hits the 5 of clubs, he'll make a full house.
Very nice 5. 5? Oh, 5 of clubs.
5 of clubs, yeah.
5 of clubs is burned. Is burned at the 5 of clubs.
Rubbing salt in the wounds.
Oh, don't do this, please. I don't want to say. If you don't see, I don't want to say.
Max is awfully cocky.
And if Phil doesn't hit one of his outs, the big game will send him home broke again. 6 of spades. And Max takes the passport lead.
I got it, man.
Yeah, you got it, all right. Well played, bro.
Thank you.
Max, You were so calm, cool, collected the entire week. Now that it's all over, what are you feeling?
Oh, I feel great. I win a lot. I'm so happy. I'm quite proud of my game. I can't imagine nothing better. So I'm very, very happy.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Poker Express, and we are back with another episode of Poker Hands.
Wow, you guys have thrown the gauntlet down. Nice play, buddy.
Before Before getting into it, I would like to ask you guys to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy our videos.
Makes it 240,000 to go. Oh, and look at this. Woody Moore with Big Slick and Ace King lets out a deep sigh. Like, what do I do now?
All in.
Whoa, Woody's going all in over the top on hand number one.
Oh, is that the way they're going to play?
Wow! Well, the crowd goes wild. Woody is not going to get outplayed or outflopped by Phil Ivey. He's going to force him to gamble right now for $1.5 million of his $4 million in chips.
Of course, we saw Woody Moore at a final WPT table in Aruba a couple seasons back. He finished fourth. He's a former executive in the oil business. And now he's retired, plays golf and poker. Not a bad life, huh?
Right now, Vince, I believe Woody's very content with the circumstance. He's going to be happy if he wins the pot right here. But because it's taken Ivey so long to make this decision, you have to know your ace king's the best hand right now. So you don't care if he plays or not.
Fold.
Out in the audience tonight, Phil Ivey's friend Paul Darden, WPT champion, rooting him on.
Better sit down for this one.
Phil Ivey, he plays in the highest stakes cash games in the world on a daily basis. And when he plays tournaments, which is not that often, his record is incredible. And you can start with the World Poker Tour. Here's a guy who made more WPT final tables than any player in history. This is the 8th time he's made the final table.
All in.
Incredibly, it's also the 8th time he's made the money on the World Poker Tour, meaning he's never finished 45th, 30th, 18th, 12th. He's always got to the final 6 if he's made it to the money. He's also never captured a WPT title, and Vince, you know that bothers him. Earlier this season at Mirage, he came to the final table with the big chip lead. He ended up going out 5th place in that tournament.
All right, you know what? I'm just going to, I'll call.
Oh boy, he's made this call.
Wow, Phil Ivey has made the call. Vince, I'm shocked by that. I think Phil Ivey's poker instincts are as good as anybody's in the game. And for him to make a call like that, he is marching with 2 left feet.
Must not like money. Here's the flop. It's 6-3 deuce.
It's a great start for Woody Moore here. The only way Phil can win this pot is to catch a 9. They could split it if the board paired twice or a running 4 and a 5 came up. But right now, Woody Moore in a phenomenal position, not only to double up, but to take the lead at this final table.
Ivey shell-shocked there. He was imploding before our very eyes.
Well, Vince, he's had a lot of bad luck at WPT final tables before, but you can't fault this to bad luck. This is just poor play in my mind.
4th Street coming up. Will it be good for Woody? Yes.
Well, Jack of Hearts on the turn. Woody pumping his fist. He knows
nine?
the only way he can get knocked out is if a 9 comes up. Woody also has a flush draw, so the 9 of Hearts won't help him. We saw Quindo fold the 9 of Diamonds. So as it is, Phil Ivey can only catch 1 card in the deck to win this pot, and that's the 9 of Spades.
River card coming up. Will it be a 9? No, it's a Queen of Clubs. Woody Moore taking down that pot, and it's a big one.
Bet.
I'm a little surprised to see Phil Ivey gamble like that on deal number 1. I say that because you're just not going to expect an amateur player to make a move on the first deal of the final table without having a big hand.
Play. Action's going to Phil Hellmuth, a poker brat. He peeks down at a Jack 3 of clubs. Won't play that.
Well, Ivey looks down at an ace queen. Just got burned on an ace 9 in the last pot. But he's going to raise it up here with the ace queen. Makes it $230,000 to go.
Now Woody Moore going to lay down a king 4. Scott Montgomery.
Oh, look at this, Vince.
Wow.
He's picked up ace king. Again, Phil Ivey dominated here.
660.
And Scott says 660,000 he's going to make it.
All in.
Quindo with king queen is folded. And Hanley with a 6-7 of diamonds won't play that. So it's back on Phil Ivey.
And Vince, I hate to say it, but the last time we saw Phil Ivey on a WPT final table at the Mirage earlier this season, when he came to the final table as the big chip leader, this is exactly the way the guys played him there. He'd raise the pot, they'd come right over the top, and he was forced to give up a lot of hands. Or he'd make calls, they'd bet on the flop, and they'd take the pot away from him.
Scott Montgomery with a very good poker face there. He's got his mother, his friends, his sister in the audience rooting him on here tonight.
Now, Vince, we're talking about a guy that got in this tournament for a $500 online satellite. Guy's a former English teacher. You can only imagine what's going through Scott Montgomery's mind right now. Here he is. He's made it to this final table. He looks up. He sees the 2 biggest names in poker sitting across from him. And now he's playing a pot with one of them, and Ivey's made the call. And Phil Ivey has made the call, and Vince, I'll tell you one thing. If an ace comes up, this is going to get very bloody for Phil Ivey. Once again, he's up against the best hand.
Raise.
Scott Montgomery with the ace-king. Phil Ivey with the ace-queen. Now the flop has come 8-7 deuce. All different suits. Phil checks.
That's a blank for both players. Now will Scott Montgomery have the boldness to make the continuation bet? We will see. Nothing hitting, of course, on that flop.
Raise.
Did he do it?
800.
Yes, he does. He's going to stick in 800,000.
Hey, give him credit for that. Guy called a big raise before the flop. Now you haven't hit anything on the flop, and you still got the moxie to bet 800,000 into Phil Ivey.
And Phil looks like a deer caught in the headlights right now. Look at the eyes. Dilating. You're sickened. You feel like roadkill at this point.
He's going to be a lot sicker if he makes this call, Vince. I can tell you that.
You just love to be able to say, I'm all in, come over the top, but you just... Who can take that chance with nothing? No.
Well, Ivey does lay his hand down.
Bluff me.
But in 2 pots, he's lost over half his
All
$4 million in chips.
Look at this now. Phil is saying you bluff me. Twice he said it. You bluff me. You bluff me.
Sort of.
All right. Action is going to be on Phil Ivey. He's got Queen Jack.
Raise.
And he is going to call this.
He stopped raising.
Fold.
He's going to try calling once, see what happens.
What do you
All
have?
in.
You have Scott Montgomery. Going to lay down a 9-7.
Down to the mighty queen on the button. The queen 6 offsuit, lays it down.
Nam Lee with a Queen 8. He won't play that.
So we're around to Phil Hellmuth in the big blind, and he says, give us a flop. Well, this is the clash of the titans, the 2 big names, the 2 Phils. Here comes a flop. The flop comes ace 4-3 with 2 diamonds. Hellmuth checks a wheel draw.
Nothing hitting there for Phil Ivey. He's going to check behind him. Here we go with the turn card.
Now a jack comes on the turn. Ivey now out in front with 2 jacks. Hellmuth checks. Ivey's going to bet 100,000 here.
Fold.
And Hellmuth goes away. So for the first time tonight, Phil Ivey taking a pot.
Even though it's just blinds and antes, Vince, it's a morale
Raise.
booster for Phil Ivey. And Nam Lee, who looks down at the King 9 offsuit.
WPT champion folds also.
All in.
Down to King 9, and Phil Hellmuth has the same hand, the King 9. He's got the short stack at this table too. He's in 6 chip position now with just about $1 million in chips.
Fold.
And here he goes. He's going to fire 260,000 in the pot right here, looks like.
Going to play it fast now. Right behind him though, Phil Ivey with ace 10 and the button.
Ivey in position, has more chips and has the best hand. But still, if you're sitting in Ivey's seat, you just can't imagine Hellmuth's going to make a move in this spot without a hand. An ace 10 is not a bad hand, but when a guy raises in front of you who's on a short stack, you're not crazy about an ace 10, especially after you got burned by an ace 9 and ace queen already at this final table. And Ivey does lay it down.
And now,
raise.
Woody Moore. Small blind folds an 8 deuce. The only one to beat is Scott Montgomery. He's got a queen deuce of diamonds, the chip leader, but he goes away.
So Hellmuth, aggressive play, wins that pot for him.
Action's going on. WPT champion Nam Lee, who picks up big
Fold,
slick
fold.
ace king.
It's ace king suited, Vince, the ace king of hearts. Just a premium hand for Nam Lee here.
270.
Fold. Fold.
270,000 is the bet. And look at this, Vince, right behind him. Phil Hellmuth on the short stack with just $1 million in chips. Looks down at 2 jacks.
Fold.
2 huge hands. Pair of jacks. Your Hellmuth. How to play this. Go over the top all in. Just call. You certainly can't fold.
Fold.
Notice Hellmuth continues to stare
Raise.
over at Nam Lee. He knows Nam's a very solid player. He's not going to raise
Fold.
under the gun, as we say, unless he has a premium hand.
Raise.
Still, there's only 3 hands in the deck that can beat you if you have 2 jacks.
Fold.
When you're on a
Fold.
short stack, I just can't imagine you don't get your chips in here, but let's see what he's going to do here with
Check.
the jacks. He just makes the call, and I'm not fond of this play, and I say that because now there's so much money out there, you entice other players,
Bet.
including the blinds, to come in this pot as well.
Call.
So now if you have to meet multiple players
Check.
with 2 jacks, Much tougher to do than beating one player with him.
Well, Phil Ivey with a king,
All
queen
in.
of clubs, quickly
Fold.
calling this. Woody Moore out.
Here's a perfect example. More players coming into the pot.
Montgomery, our chip leader, goes
Fold.
away.
Down to the big blind. The mighty Quinn looks down at the queen 3 offsuit, gets out of the way. So we've got three-way action
All
between the
in.
three big
Check.
guns. It's ace king versus
Check.
two jacks versus king queen
Fold.
suited. Right now, Helmuth out in front with the two jacks. Here comes the flop.
Fold.
Oh, the flop is ace 10-3. Nam Lee has flopped a pair of aces. He now has the best hand. Top pair and top kicker, as we say.
650.
Gonna bet it.
Fold.
650,000. And all of a sudden, Helmuth's jacks have shrunk up, and he lays them down. Ivy throws away the gut shot straight draw. So Nam Lee picking up that pot. Most people would have got broke with the two jacks right there, me included. Helmuth got away from him. But Phil Ivey, who came to this final table with the chip lead, now sits in 4th chip position in last place. Let's see if he can come back.
All right, action is going to be on Phil Ivey, and he looks down at a suited connector, 8-9 of clubs.
Fold. Fold.
He seems to like it. He's going to
Call.
pump it up a little bit, making it 300,000 to go.
Phil Ivey played very conservative after starting out aggressively and not doing well that way. Now changing gears with 4 players left,
Fold.
apparently raising it up there.
Woody Moore folding. Quinn Doe now. He's got a queen 4. Won't play that,
Raise.
so only one to beat is Nam Lee.
Fold.
Now Nam Lee has an ace 3 of hearts.
Fold.
Now he's got 120,000 out there, and he's going to call 180,000 more. He makes the call.
All right, so we have action between these two. 9-8 up against ace
Fold.
3. Here comes the flop.
Now the flop is ace 7-7 with 2
Call.
diamonds. Nam Lee has flopped aces up and checks.
Check.
Yep. And will Phil Ivey, with absolutely nothing, go in with a
Check.
continuation bet? You better believe it.
Yep, he's going to bet 400,000 here.
Fold.
Action back on Nam Lee. Let's see what he's going to do.
Bet.
He's going to make the call here, Vince.
Yep.
So Nam
Call.
Lee calls for 400,000, and that's got to turn the caution lights on for Phil Ivey right there. I mean, it's the kind of flop that you think a guy's got an ace or a 7, or he can't make a call in that spot.
Okay, turn card coming up.
Fold.
Well, a 6 comes off. Now this gives Phil an open-end straight
Fold.
draw, but
Fold.
action's on
Fold.
Nam Lee, and Nam
Call.
checks. Now the question is, will Ivy bet the open-end
Check.
straight draw, or will he take the free
Bet.
card off?
Call. Check.
Indeed he does. He checks. Here comes the river card. It's a 10. Phil Ivey is backdoor to
All
straight.
in.
He said 2 running
Call.
cards to make it straight. He now has the best hand, and Nam Lee quickly checks on the river. And for sure, Phil is going to bet now.
Looking down at the chips, he's racking them up, and there it is. It looks like $800,000 bet.
So Nam Lee's got to figure this out now. He knows Phil checked on the turn, and now he's betting on the river.
Fold.
He's just hoping Phil's bluffing, had some kind
Raise.
of button flush
Fold.
draw. Didn't make anything.
All in.
What's he going to do? Will he lay this hand down?
It would be just an incredible laydown if he could possibly make
Call.
it. But there's a lot of money out there.
A call.
And
Call.
look at
All
this.
in.
Numley's going to be kicking himself because he has
All
called it.
in.
Oh,
Call.
boy.
Well, Vince, he shows the least emotion of anybody out here on the tour, but you could see a little frustration when he winged those cards in that time.
That was just a destiny card right there for Phil Ivey. This thing is turned around in a massive way.
Well, Vince, Nam Lee made the same mistake in that hand that Phil Helmuth made earlier at this final table.
Nice catch, Joe. Sorry, buddy. Pretty sick.
When you outflop your opponent, put a little bet in there or raise right now to find out where you're at.
Nice catch.
He didn't do that, and it cost him dearly.
Well, it goes Nam Lee looking once again down at a pair of aces.
Absolutely incredible. Nam is picking up some cards. The last time he had 2 aces, he got no action on them. Let's see what happens here.
Fold. Fold.
Well, he's going to raise it, not going to slow play him.
Raise. Fold.
Comes in for 420,000.
Fold.
Oh, and look at this. This could be interesting. Phil Ivey has picked up a pair himself. He's got 2 3s.
Check.
Come on, man.
Phil
Check.
Ivey says all in. A quick call, of course, by Nam Lee.
Well, music to Nam Lee's ears. He's
Check.
got 2 aces. Phil Ivey's got 2 3s.
Bet.
Unbelievable. Nam Lee in great shape to double up here and win this $2.6 million pot.
WPT champion
Check.
Nam Lee
Check.
with a huge opportunity. This would get him back in second chip position if his hand should hold up, with a true shot of taking down his second WPT championship.
Well, we say Nam Lee doesn't show much
Fold.
emotion. Most people will be dancing around the
Fold.
room when they had their money all in with two
Fold.
aces
Fold.
against 2 threes. Nam just waiting to see the
All
flop, and it's a
in.
good one for him.
Yeah.
It's come 10-6 deuce. Nam leaves 2 aces out front. Phil Ivey's going to have to catch a 3 to take the lead, or a running 4-5 to make a straight to win this pot.
So perhaps a little revenge here for Nam against Phil Ivey. Still got to sweat out a couple cards. Here we go with the turn card.
Oh! Wow! A 3 comes off. Can you believe it? Unbelievable. As the 3 peels off on the turn, Nam Lee absolutely devastated right now. You can see the look in his eye. Wow. Unbelievable. Nam Lee must catch an ace on the river to stay alive in this tournament.
What a suck out for Phil Ivey right there. Pain in the room at the Commerce Casino. River card.
Well, that's the queen. Well, that's going to do it for Nam Lee, the WPT champ. His heart broken right now, Vince. What a devastating blow. He fought and fought and fought at this final table to stay alive. Finally gets in a spot, the dream situation, where you can double up with 2 aces. Then, bam, your opponent hits lightning on the turn, and you're walking out of here in 4th place.
Bet.
Wow. $411,000 he will pick up for this week's work. Nam Lee body bagged out of here in 4th place.
And Vince,
Check.
Phil Ivey has always said in the past he's never been
Bet.
lucky at these WPT final tables. He cannot say that tonight. He had 2 running cards on 2 hands to win earlier, but nothing topped this. He had 2 threes. He cracked the 2 aces to win that pot to take a commanding lead with 3 players left.
The restaurateur owns a Vietnamese noodles house up in Seattle, also plays a fine game of poker. He quickly folds his hand.
Fold.
Phil Ivey looks at an 8-7 and limps in. Woody with a 6 deuce. Happy to see a free flop here.
Okay, a couple junk hands. Here we go.
Raise.
Well, it's come 8-5 deuce. Phil Ivey has flopped top pair. Woody has flopped bottom pair. And Phil leads right out in bets.
Fold.
200,000.
Yep. They both got a piece of that.
Woody trying to figure out what to do. Wondering if Phil Ivey's just making a move. Does he have some type of straight draw? Could he have a flush draw? Or is he on a stone bluff? You see Woody shaking his head in a negative fashion. Does it again. Well, his head said no, but his mind said yes because he makes the call here.
Fold.
So Woody Moore on the short stack.
Raise.
And in bad shape here. He's got bottom pair. He's up against top pair.
All in.
And a 7 comes off.
Oh, wow.
Phil Ivey
All
now has
in.
the top 2 pair.
Call.
Woody has bottom pair and an open end straight draw.
Phil's first to act.
Advance with a potential flush and a potential straight out there.
He's going to bet at 400,000.
I'm all in.
All in?
And quickly Woody goes all in.
Call. You call?
With bottom pair and an open end straight draw. Phil Ivey calls him with the top 2 pair. So Woody Moore must catch a 9 or a 4 to make a straight, or a deuce to make 3 deuces. That's all he can catch to win this pot. He must catch a 9, 4, or a deuce to stay alive in this tournament. Can he do it?
I got a straight draw and a pair of deuces.
He has played so nicely all night long. Great bluffs, great strength. A real character at the table right now. The former oilman. The rule-out could be over for him.
As the cards lie, Phil Ivey over a 3-1 favorite to win this pot and eliminate yet another player at this final table and take 1 step closer to capturing his first WPT title.
I got a good feeling. I don't know, I'm neutral.
Well, everybody's laughing, enjoying themselves. Woody knows he's got to have help. Let's see if he can get it. Nope, a jack comes off. So that's going to do it for Woody Moore. But Vince, what a tournament he had. Plenty of entertainment, lots of fun. Enjoyed himself, made some great poker plays at this final table. But in the end, out in 3rd place.
Yes, he had had a great time. He's an entertaining player. He's going to pick up $625,000 here at the LA Poker Classic. So we are down to 2 players. The heads-up battle about to begin between Phil Ivey and Quinn Do. Back to the action. Quinn Do now with the button.
Check.
And he's got one of those suited connectors. 8,
Bet.
9 of hearts.
Yep, he's got this kind of hand you want to see
Call.
flops with. Quinn Do limps in and makes the call on the button with the 9-8 of hearts.
Bet.
But Phil right behind him with an
Fold.
ace-8.
Well, when a guy limps in on the button, you have to assume that your ace high is the best hand. The only way it's not is if your opponent is trapping.
400. And Phil
Raise.
Ivey's gonna
Fold.
raise it up, making an additional 400,000 to go.
Well, this is a nice bet by Phil Ivey here. Figures the ace high is the best hand. Indeed
All
it is.
in.
In fact, he's got his opponent in great
Fold.
shape here. He's got an ace 8, his
Fold.
opponent's got a 9-8. But Quinn Do is going to make the call for another 400,000. So here we go, over 1.1 million in the pot right now.
All in.
Phil with the ace 8, Quinn with the 9-8 of hearts. Here comes that flop. It's come ace 8-6, all spades. Phil Ivey has flopped the top 2 pair.
Fold.
Quinn Do has flopped the second pair. But there are 3 spades.
Neither player has a spade, but a big flop for Phil Ivey. 2 pair on the flop, and he's coming up to bet 700,000. And now Quinn with just a pair of 8s, no spade. And you call this, you're going into the point of no return. It's a $700,000 bet.
Cool.
Oh boy, he's going to make this
Fold.
call, nevertheless.
Fold.
So Quinn Do,
Fold.
virtually drawing dead, must hit 9-9 to win this pot.
Deeply invested.
Call.
2 running spades would give him a split pot. But right now, Phil Ivey in a dominating position to win this pot. And an ace comes off.
wow.
Phil Ivey has aces full of 8s. There's no hand that can beat him right now. He has the very best hand possible. It's a dream scenario for Phil Ivey. Notice he didn't flinch when that ace came off fence.
I'm all in.
He's going all in here. He just suspects that Quinn called him on the flop. He must have something, whether it's a flush draw, an ace, a pair, something. He is just praying to himself right now that this man calls him. He's saying, please call me, please call me, please call me so I can put that trophy on my mantle.
Doesn't have to call here. You can muck this and wait for another day. Down to your last million. But his suspicion is Phil's trying to roll him over on this one.
Quinn getting his chips out. Is he going to make the call? If so, this party is over.
Fold. Fold. Fold.
Phil Ivey
Call.
will wear the crown and capture that elusive
Fold,
first WPT title of his.
Along with that title, $1.6 million.
Call.
Folks, it's tough to make these WPT final tables. Phil Ivey
Check.
has done it 8 times, more than any other player in the world.
Check.
I call.
Oh
And he
boy!
makes a call,
He's done
and
it.
Phil Ivey has
Bet.
done it. It is over. Phil
Fold.
Ivey is our champion.
Fold.
He has finally captured a WPT title. So Quinn Do took a long time to think about what to do. Finally made the wrong decision.
Fold.
What can you say? Phil Ivey, the
Fold.
man that blew out a final table with
Raise.
ace-queen numerous times, never got lucky, has finally done it. Get some luck here tonight at the LA Poker Classic.
Well, the river cards of 4 clubs makes no difference. Phil Ivey wins his pot with aces full of 8s. He has finally captured a WPT.
I got one of these. That's kind of
Fold.
really
Fold.
pretty.
Fold.
High fives, clapping again.
I needed that.
This is Russell Harlow. Russ infected Phil Hellmuth with some pretty bad beats. Side effect, tilt. The prescription,
Fold.
enjoy Phil's beating at the hands of this amateur.
The cannon, ace queen.
Call.
Russ has
Call.
got Phil dominated.
Get him loose.
Here he comes.
Get him loose, cannon.
Fold. 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 Check.
Russ just calls.
Check.
10 queen
Check.
6. Harlow top pair.
Bet.
Phil may run into some
Fold.
resistance if he tries to bluff this
Fold.
one.
He doesn't. He checks.
Let's see if Russ gets aggressive with top pair.
He does, firing 3,200. And that gets Phil to fold. So the cannon picks up his first pot of the night.
Call. Fold.
How did it feel being in a pot heads up with the
Fold.
greatest living no limit hold'em player of all time? How did it feel?
And winning. It was just
All
nice to
in.
win. Take down the first one. Let's just
Fold.
play.
Do you have like ice cream or something?
Fold.
I
Fold.
wish it was that good.
King
Fold.
7 for the cannon.
Call.
Raising to 1300.
Russ might be trying to work that quiet image, or he could just be bored.
Antonio with ace 5 on the button. Re-raises to 4300, and now action folds back to the cannon.
Antonio has successfully isolated Russ. Now Russ has got a marginal hand and he's out of position.
That's a bad combination in this game.
You're learning every day, Chris
Call.
Rose.
Russ wants to stick around. He makes the call.
Call. Fold.
Now the problem is that the pot is bloated and Russ doesn't have a very strong hand.
Call. Fold.
He does now. King 4 king.
All
Not a
in.
problem anymore. Russ has picked a
Fold.
good time to get loose. Timing
Call.
is everything.
And Harlow Hollywooding a bit. Fires 5,000.
Russ taking his time may look to Antonio like he's not sure about his hand. I'm not sure if it was intentional, but this half pot bet is probably going to look weak as well.
Call.
Antonio raises to 17-4.
Call.
Antonio thinks he can blow Russ off his hand, and a lot of the time he'd be right,
Check.
just not this time.
Check.
But right now, Russ is trying to figure out whether he should call
Check.
or raise.
Just a call.
I like the call, but no matter what he does there, he's going to tip Antonio off that he's got a big
All
hand.
in. Call.
9 of spades on the turn.
Betting would still be Russ's best chance of making some more money here. It's not likely Antonio would keep firing, though it's also not very likely he'd call another bet.
Harlow fires 20,000.
Another bet less than half the size of the pot. It may look weak to Antonio, but at this point he probably knows ace high isn't the best hand. This would be an awfully gutsy bluff for an amateur.
Fold. Call.
Antonio's out of here.
Fold. Fold.
And the loose cannon, Russ Harlow, picks up a nice sized pot.
A pot that puts him in the profits.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Russ Harlow, ace jack, raises to 1700. Tony G, 4 high.
Tony's got a pretty weak hand, but he does have position on
Fold.
Russ.
He
Call.
calls from the button. 9-6
Call.
for Mercier
Check.
in the big blind.
Jason's already got some money in there.
Calls. Deuce 5 queen on the flop. Mercier checks.
Call. Raise. Fold. Fold. Call. Fold. 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 Call. Check. Bet. Call. Call. Check. check, check, bet, fold, 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 raise, fold, call, fold, call, fold, call, check, bet, fold, call, call, check, 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 bet, fold, 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 raise, fold, call, call, fold, call, fold, check, 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 bet, fold, 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 raise, call, fold, 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 check, check, bet, call, check, call, fold, 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 call, check, 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 bet, fold, call, call, Fold. 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 Raise. Fold. 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 Call. Bet. Call. Bet. Raise. Call. Fold. Call. Fold. 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 Call. Check. All in. Fold. Fold. Call. Fold. Call. Fold. Call. Check. 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 Bet. Fold. 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 Call. Fold. Fold. Call. Check. Check. Bet.
Russ has been outflopped by the worst hand again.
Call.
But he leads out, betting 4,200.
Tony G is almost never folding a pair on this flop to a loose cannon.
He calls and Mercier folds.
Call. Check.
So from 3 on the flop to 2 on the turn.
All in.
4 of hearts. Tony with bottom 2 pair.
This is a terrible card for Russ. Not only does it look like a safe card, but it's going to make it impossible for him to get Tony to fold.
Harlow fires 11,000.
If it weren't for Tony making a second pair here on the turn, this would be a really good double barrel from the cannon, but instead, Russ is in serious trouble.
Fold. Fold. Call. Fold. All
Tony
in.
raises to 30,000.
Call.
Since Russ fired twice, Tony probably thinks Russ has more of a decision to make.
Harlow folds, and Tony G wins the hand after calling with 4 high. All right, action's folded on over to the loose cannon, King Jack.
King Jack, action's been folded. Pretty easy raise.
Yep, to 1,600. Antonio in the small blind. He re-raises to 4,900. Big blind folds. Action back on over to Harlow.
Antonio could be re-stealing from the small blind, but calling 3 bets with King Jacks is a risky proposition. Even in position, you're going to miss the flop most of the time, and then you're just stuck with King High.
Well, Russ calls.
King Jack is a hand that has awful reverse implied odds, meaning you stand to lose a lot of money when you make a second best hand.
Well, now Russ has got top pair after the Jack
Call.
trade 8 flop.
Call. Fold.
Russ might like his hand for now. We'll have to see what Antonio
Fold.
does.
He bets
Call.
8,100.
Check.
See, this pot is bloated from the 3-bet pre-flop, and now Russ is
Check.
facing a big bet here with just 1 pair.
Bet.
The worst part is that if you call here and Antonio bets again, the bets are going to get exponentially bigger.
Obviously, it's not easy sitting in that seat. Russ calls.
Even though it might be an easy call now, the bets are just going to get bigger and bigger.
6 of diamonds on the turn, putting 3 diamonds on the board.
At this point, Russ is probably hoping he doesn't have to face a huge bet here. He can't like the diamond.
Antonio checks.
Antonio slowed down for a second. Since Russ doesn't have a diamond, he should make Antonio pay. He's going to draw to win.
Russ bets 19,000.
Well, my guess is that Antonio doesn't have diamonds or the money would be in already. My guess is also that they'd be in the muck by now if he hated his hand.
All in.
Bet.
Antonio's all in.
Well, I've narrowed Antonio's hand down to any 2 cards. I wonder how Russ is doing with it. How are all you couch cannons doing? Russ is really being put to the test here. He could very well have the best hand, but there's a lot at stake for Russ. That's almost his whole stack, and Antonio did 3-bet in pre-flop.
Wow. How much more is it, 20?
20,100. Personally, I think Russ pot committed himself when he made the original bet here on the turn. If he was going to fold to a check raise, he should have just checked behind. Then again, it's not my new minivan on the line.
Fold.
What a bad bet by me.
Russ folds, and Antonio had the same hand with a king-high flush draw.
Listen.
King 10's all right.
Yeah, so we call.
Good luck, boys.
That's cool. I feel good right now.
Raise.
Rooting for you.
Fold.
I know.
Fold.
Jack 7 trade, 3 spades. Phil checks. Russ, we check.
Bet.
Tony checks. Ike checks.
Fold.
I like our check. Even if we improve, someone else is likely to improve more.
Bet.
All right, ace of spades on the turn. That means we've got a flush.
It's a great card for us because now there are also only 2 cards in the deck that beat us, and it's pretty likely someone would have bet one of those already.
6.
Phil makes it 6,000.
I'd say it'd be pretty tough for Phil to bet into 3 people without a spade. But a quick little math here. We're getting 2 to 1, so even if Phil's only going to bet the king, the queen, or the 9 of spades, we'll win 1 out of every 3 times. That gives us the right odds to call.
Well, Russ raises to 15,000. That gets Tony to fold.
Raise.
Ice out 2.
I don't love this raise. All the worst spades are likely to fold out, and a better one likely won't.
Raise.
It's also not too much to protect against. Maybe a set or 2 pair.
I got to tell you, Joe, I'm a little nervous going heads up against Phil.
I wouldn't be.
Phil calls. You nervous now?
Maybe a little.
The river. The queen of spades. Phil checks.
I'm really not scared now. The only card that beats us is the king of spades, and I don't think Phil's got it. My guess is if he did, he'd bet it and not give us the chance to check behind for a cheap showdown. Right now, we should be thinking value bet.
There's only one hand that can call me anyway, so.
Nope, checked. All right, let's see what Phil's got. Oh, he had 2 pair. We're going to win.
Wow.
Pretty crazy for Phil to bet and call a raise without a spade.
I can't believe it. Wow.
Call. Call.
Nice hand.
Check. Check.
The cannon is called with just 9 high.
Bet.
Wow, you guys are just having it out.
Call.
Phil's got the cannon dominated.
Bet.
The flop.
Fold.
Ace 8-8 could be real trouble for Russ Harlow.
In the words of Outcast Chris, what's colder than cold?
Ice cold.
That's right, this is an icy cold deck.
Fold.
Phil fires 3,000.
Fold. Call.
Russ is in bad shape to win this hand. He really doesn't need to do the Hollywooding here. Still, if he can't get away from this hand, there's a better than 50% chance he'll be on his way home.
That would be back to Connecticut to tuck in his 3 kids. Russ raises to 10,000.
Russ is playing it right. This is just unlucky.
Raise.
Hollywood Hellmuth taking his time.
Call. Fold. Fold. Fold.
Re-raises to 20,000.
This is a third bet on the flop. Russ might
Check.
now have to consider that he might be beat.
Check.
Phil's range is either bluff or
Bet.
the nuts, and Russ has already shown a lot
Call.
of strength for an amateur.
Call.
Just don't see how he can get away from this, though.
I'm all in.
There's the all-in,
I call.
Check.
and Phil calls.
Check. Bet.
You got an 8?
Yeah.
I got a 10 kicker.
Listen.
Looks like
Raise.
a big chance for a chop, but
Fold. Call.
there could be blood. Okay, should I deal it? Should I do something crazy and deal it a bunch of times?
All in. Call.
Well, it's up to him too. I mean, he might only want to do it once.
No, that's one time.
One time. Keep it
All right.
manly.
A 9 would win it for Russ. Jack or higher would chop it. The turn, a 4.
Russ needs
Call.
a 9 to win it. A 4, an
Fold.
ace, or some paint will chop it.
Let's get it over with.
Fold.
The river. It's a 9.
Oh my god.
Fold.
What a bad beat that is.
Hey guys, was that good for the game?
Fold.
I thought about
I think that might chop it.
but
This is full deck.
The cannon is called. Called with just 9 high.
Wow, you guys are just having it out.
Phil's got the cannon dominated.
The flop, ace 8-8 could be real trouble for Russ Harlow.
In the words of Outcast,
Oh
my god. What a bad beat that is.
Hey guys, was that good for the game?
I thought about
I think
being-
that might have been
Was that good for the game?
What was that?
Raise.
That was like a 15-1 shot coming in.
Got lucky there.
Nice hand.
I got lucky.
Call.
Ace Jack suited.
Fold.
Russ is on a bit of a heater.
Call.
Raises to 1500.
Check.
Antonio folds.
Did you ever start getting doubts, Phil? Like just maybe I'm not as good as I think?
Bet.
Raise it up.
Phil raising to 5100.
Good question. That's a valid question.
It's right. I'm really curious. Does he really think he's the best in the world?
Like he lies in bed and thinks, you know, maybe I've been wrong. You know,
Cannon calls.
Fold.
I can't sleep for the whole night.
Raise.
It's frustrating.
Fold.
The flop,
Well, you can prove today is the best.
7-9 Jack. Both get a piece of
Call.
it. Phil checks.
How do you think you would rank the 6 players at the table?
Call. Fold.
I think, well, he ranked
Fold.
himself clear
Harlow checks top pair.
and probably
4 diamonds on the turn.
Check.
ranked me
11,000.
last. Then the loose cannon. Then Antonio.
Harlow calls.
Then Jason. Then you.
Bet.
Second best.
Call.
I think he thinks Jason's better than me.
Check.
I don't think he likes me much.
Jack.
And Harlow wins.
Yeah, he does rank people based on how much you like
Fold.
them. Unfortunate. Wow. It's 15,000 down the slippery slide.
Check.
You want to build him up, right? You
Bet.
want-
Every pot I play against him, I make it big now.
Well, we're talking about going to the army. He's been there.
Fold.
So you're learning. He's got to teach you a few tricks.
Well, he's won a couple pots.
It's good, right? It's good. You're happy.
Maybe I'll win one in a minute.
Fold.
You like to kick people when they're down. That's what you like to do.
I don't want to kick people. This is just a game, Phil.
That's
Raise.
precisely what you're doing. You're
Phil,
kicking me
you
when
line
I'm down.
yourself up as the best poker player in the world. You're coming on
Fold.
national television. Yeah, I know. Phil, I didn't say you're the best. You're the one saying all the time and abusing players during poker tournaments. You abuse
Call.
people in a significant,
Fold.
nasty manner.
Cannon raises.
It's just a game, Phil. It's
Check.
nothing personal. I mean, I just love the.
I just pointed out what you're doing, and for some
Bet.
reason you got all sensitive.
You
I
put
don't know
yourself
why.
up.
Tony calls.
Fold.
You put yourself up as a.
There's about 10% of the audience that's watching loves
Uh-oh.
to see you kick me when I'm down. And
it's
about
more
20%
than that.
thinks,
I'll bet it's over
yeah.
10.
Okay, let's say that 30% loves it. And then there's about
Fold.
30% that hates it. And then
Fold.
40% thinks it's kind of entertaining, but they lose a little respect for you.
Fold.
I think your numbers are off.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that breakdown.
I think 90% enjoy watching it, and a significant amount agree with you that
Raise.
the last part that you said is probably true as well. But all in all, everybody enjoys watching it. I'm enjoying listening to it. I'm
Most
sitting right
important,
next to
Phil,
Raise.
I absolutely enjoy doing it to you. That's what's important, isn't it?
See that I appreciate.
Raise the pot.
Harlow re-raises to 24 grand.
Russ has just put in a 4th bet on this hand.
But it's definitely not personal. I really respect you as a person.
Tony folds.
And as a human being, as a family man, I respect you a lot. I think you're out of line with the way you perceive yourself as a poker player, and I think you're wrong.
Will we see a 5th bet from Jason?
Anyway, let's move on to the next part. You're getting dribbled away. That's the main thing.
Mercier re-raises to 51,000.
Jason's just made a bet for half of Russ's entire stack. Even if Russ recognizes it, he's put a lot of money into this pot already. Generally, once you 4-bet, your pot committed.
Call.
If he was going to fold to a 5-bet, he would have been better off calling the 3-bet and seeing a flop.
Call.
Top pair was a big kicker, just like last time again.
Check.
Wow, 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 wow.
Russ folds.
Did you lay down kings?
Check.
No. Ace king?
Tony's even more annoying when he's right.
9-6-8.
Check.
Everyone but Antonio flops an up and down straight draw.
Hellmuth checks. Harlow checks. Esfandiari checks.
Check.
Jason has flopped huge with top pair to go with his straight draw.
And fires 1,200. Hellmuth calls.
Check.
Russ has the best draw, which gives him incredible implied odds for hitting the 10.
Russ is in. Antonio's out. So he lost one from the flop to the turn, which is the tray of diamonds. Phil checks. Harlow checks.
Raise.
While Phil and Russ both missed their draws, Jason's got trusty top pair to fall back on.
Mercier bets 3,800. That gets Phil out of here.
Russ still with an up and down draw.
He calls.
Not a bad call. Wants to see one more card.
The river, the queen of hearts.
Russ is completely whiffed.
Fold.
One would expect to just shut it down now and check.
Fold.
No, he fires 8 grand.
Fold.
This bet looks mighty strong coming from a guy who makes donut runs for a living.
Call.
I don't know what I'm thinking.
Check.
Jason lays down the best hand. And a
Check.
nice pot won by the man who drives a bakery delivery truck.
And he shows the bluff.
Bet.
Luffy.
Russ raised.
Fold.
Antonio calls. Tony's out. Phil's in. The flop. 5, 4, 6. Bottom 2 pair for Phil. Antonio checks. Hellmuth checks.
That's a pretty wet
Fold.
board. Typically, you'd want to bet there and charge anyone
Fold.
to draw, so I'm not sure why Phil checked.
Fold.
Russ has 2 overs and a gut shot.
Fold.
And fires 5 grand. That gets Antonio out. Phil
Raise.
calls.
Russ's hand is exactly the kind you'd want to charge to draw.
3 of clubs on the turn.
Fold.
This time Phil leads out, betting 8,000.
That's one of the cards Phil wouldn't want to see. That 3 makes a bunch of straight draws. Bad turn comes off, and now Phil bets.
Here, you got to pay this off. Cheap on the river. I'll be cheap. If you call this, my river bet's only going to be... I won't bet more than 10,000 on the river, okay? If you call this.